All right, they say it's the slowest week of the year in sports. We say no, it's not. We say we got a lot of stuff to get to here in Raiderland. We're going to do it tonight with you guys. Glad you're here, getting in on the United Supermarkets and Market Street chat line. Everything you do when you type in your comments, questions, and everything else brought to you by the supermarket that cares about Texas Tech. Also by Golf USA. It's British Open week. You can't play in the British Open, but you can play golf around here. Weather's great. You can look good. You can look like you're in the British Open if you want to. Make your golf game better. Go to 67th in Indiana at Golf USA and by McAlpin Chiropractic. After your round of golf, you hadn't played a round of golf in a while, and your back's giving you all sorts of hell, go see my friend Kevin McAlpin. You weekend warriors, you guys who try to do too much, you know who you are. He'll help you feel your best. McAlpin Chiropractic, the official chiropractor of Raiderland. Glad to be with you here in the Raiderland World headquarters tonight. You guys know what to do. The early arrivals, the ones who are just getting in, anybody and everybody, and we welcome all of our new YouTube channel subscribers. 500 subscribers strong now on YouTube. That was a big deal to get to that. We were late to the YouTube channel game, and you guys, I can't thank you enough. And everybody, I still want you to keep signing up. You can watch wherever you want on YouTube, Ryan Hyatt's Raiderland, on Facebook, same thing, Ryan Hyatt's Raiderland, Facebook Live, just like James giving us thumbs up there, early arrival, and on our Twitter X feed at Ryan Hyatt Media. They're all free. Follow on all of those so you never miss a thing going on in Raiderland. In 3, in 2. Good evening, West Texans, all you good, fine, friendly folks out there who wish you were. I'm Ryan Hyatt, theraiderland.com. You start your day, we give you the question of the day. You know, on Mondays, we recap the weekend. If you got stuff over the weekend that you thought was good or bad or ugly, you bring it to us on Monday. We will kick it around. We'll discuss it. You tell us the good, the bad, and the ugly. Maybe it was Ludwig Gobert giving you signs of life at the Scottish Open that he might be a factor in the British Open at Royal Portrush this week. Maybe, just maybe, best outing he's had since the Masters. He hadn't been horrible. He just, 2 or 3 bad holes here and there, and then boom, you're done. So, could be that. I don't know what the bad would be over the weekend. The ugly, you tell me. Now, beyond that, you got stuff to do. All-Star game tomorrow. Home Run Derby tonight. The Home Run Derby intrigues me not anymore. I've seen the greatest of Home Run Derby. I've seen the original Home Run Derby TV show that aired in the 1950s. They replayed it on ESPN in the late 80s and early 90s. And it was awesome, epic. They filmed it in Hollywood at Wrigley Field. Yeah, that's right, Wrigley Field in Hollywood. The Hollywood Stars, I think that was the name of the team. The Hollywood Stars played at a field called Wrigley Field. It had kind of the ivy and the whole thing. And they had a home run derby, fair or foul, all or nothing. And then I saw the home run derbies through the 90s and into the Josh Hamilton epic display a few years ago. Been more than a few. Doesn't do anything for me anymore. The All-Star game, however, we ask you tonight, your favorite All-Star game memories growing up as a kid, as a youngster, as a ute, maybe not 2 utes, the 2 utes. Your favorite All-Star game memories growing up. That's one of the questions tonight. And then, you can get in on anything you want. Major League Draft going on. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 Red Raiders that I know of. I think that's it for the day. I think we're done. That have been drafted. One of the salient points of that, interesting to me, they're all pitchers, minus half of one, and you got rid of your pitching coach. Maybe that's why you got rid of your pitching coach, I guess, that you had, 4 guys getting drafted. Well, we can talk about that. And then question of the night, tonight on a Monday, things you miss in sports. The things in sports that you miss, you would bring it back. It could be something big, small. It could be more of a focus on the going ban from Raiderland at a Texas Tech football game. It could be free parking for tailgating, and you don't get gouged on that. I'm already buying a ticket, man. Let us park somewhere. No interleague play, or as we called it back in 1997, interleague plague in Major League Baseball. What is it? What do you miss in sports? What are the things, little things, big things you miss in sports? Big shoulder pads. Football players wearing massive shoulder pads. Even quarterbacks back in the 80s, the 90s. We had shoulder pads that you could barely get into. They were awesome. It's fantastic. Things you would bring back from the world of sports. And really kind of what got me started about this, and I get it has something to do with sports. I don't know why. But yesterday I was thinking about the old NTN trivia and how cool that was on Monday Night Football. And you'd go and you'd play Monday Night Football NTN trivia. You have, game break, middle, deep ball, boom, all that stuff. I was pretty good at it. I developed a system on the NTN trivia pad, and I could play good trivia too. Man, we have progressed so far as a society now that we've lost great things like NTN trivia. How do we do that? So things you would bring back. What do you miss in the world of sports? Howard Cosell. Anybody miss Howard Cosell? Monday Night Football truly mattered. I might even go this. And you've got to be of a certain age to miss this. And I guess maybe we don't miss it. That's not the right way to say. But how special it was when your team was on TV in college football. If your team was Texas Tech. All right, there are your questions tonight. Your favorite Major League Baseball All-Star Game memories. Mine go back into the 1970s and the 80s, stuff growing up. Favorite memories All-Star Game. I don't think anybody really cares that much anymore, and that's fine. Things you miss in the world of sports. We'll get to the Texas Tech players drafted as we go through tonight. But tonight and every night, a special thank you to you for being there. And you guys are the ones who make it happen. So get on the United Supermarkets chat line and fire away your questions, comments, anything and everything on your mind. James is back. Frank Thomas, home run derby, Three Rivers Stadium, 500 foot to Third Tech, favorite memory. Manny, was that the year before or after it was in Arlington? I want to say that would have been either 94 or 96. Probably before. Maybe. Yeah, I'm guessing it was the year before. I lose track. I used to know World Series and Super Bowl and All-Star Game year by year. I can't do it anymore. Hadn't done that. Yeah, mid 90s for sure. But I'm trying to put it whether it was before or after. Frank Thomas, the greatest fullback to ever play in the Major League Baseball. What a backfield Auburn had. Frank Thomas, some guy named Bo Jackson. And Pat Dye couldn't quite get him there with the national championship. All-Star games for me growing up, for the most part, I missed a lot of them. We would be invariably on location. All right, that's how you know you're listening to an old radio guy or a media guy. Yeah, we're on location. No, son, we're on vacation. We're out of town on vacation. Our vacation would fall with my parents being teachers and my dad being a coach. We kind of had to wrap things up before late July, when two-a-days and everything else, you got to be back to work. So it was the Midsummer Classic. A lot of times meant being in Red River, New Mexico, or somewhere else on vacation. And particularly if we were in the mountains, I wouldn't hear a radio or see a TV for 10 days. Might go into town. I'm not being funny here. Might go into town after like 7 days, and we would have a contest to guess how many games back the Rangers were when we left town, and now how many games back are they now? How many more games farther? So there were a lot of All-Star games that I missed. Now, one I did not miss was the 1983 All-Star game at Comiskey Park, where the American League finally snaps the long losing streak. I grew up not knowing the American League could win a game in the All-Star game. The NL controlled it, the Big Red Machine, and all those great Pirates, and you name it. In the National League, all the Dodgers and the Phillies, they would just come over and wear the AL out in the All-Star game until 1983. The Fred Lynn Grand Slam off of Atlee Hammaker went 13-2, 13-3. I can't remember the final. 13-3, I think. And I was like totally geeked up that the American League had won because, in the American League, you had the Rangers, and that meant at least one Ranger was on the win side and I can't remember who was on the 83 NL team from the Rangers. It was probably Jim Sundberg, if I were guessing. Had they traded Rick Honeycutt? Maybe I can't remember. But yeah, that one, the Ferland Grand Slam, everything that's one of my favorite memories. Now, before that, in the 70s, I had some pretty good memories. There were the games in the late 70s, Dave Parker throwing the guy out at home, some pretty cool stuff. So your favorite All-Star game memories. And maybe for a lot of it was me just tuning in to see Texas Ranger player introduced, because usually they weren't starting and you'd only have one. So they do the pregame introduction and they'd line them up on the foul line. And there you go. There's Buddy Bell from the Texas Rangers, Toby Hara, Texas Rangers, Jim Sundberg, Texas Rangers. And that was it. They probably weren't going to play. Things you miss in the world of sports is our topic tonight. Things that you would bring back. Big things, little things, everything in between. Jump in on the chat line, brought to you by United Supermarkets, Market Street. We're presented by Golf USA in Lubbock, Texas. McAlpin Chiropractic, the official chiropractor of Raiderland, and all the great businesses you see on the website and otherwise. And I'll get to the Major League Draft of Texas Tech players today here in a little bit. I figure most of you guys have already seen it. There's not really a compelling storyline to it, other than I hope all those guys make it. So jump in, get your comments in. What are you thinking about tonight? Questions, comments, everything, and anything in between. Whether you're on the YouTube channel, we got a lot of new YouTube people, over 500. Thank you so much for that. Thank you so much for that. And Facebook and Twitter X at Ryan Hyatt Media. Joseph, another one of our Facebook denizens. Can you be a denizen of Facebook? 14, when Reggie hit the light tower at Detroit Stadium, 71 All-Star games, 6 home runs, 3 for each league. And okay, so I was too young to see that live. But the cool thing about that All-Star game is it seemed like anytime there was a rain delay later on in the 70s on like NBC Game of the Week or anything else, and we're going to take you away from the stadium here at Three Rivers, and we're going to show you the highlights of the 1971 All-Star game. And it'd be Mel Allen, doing the highlights and everything, and they show that. And you would see that mammoth shot off the light tower, double-deck stadium there at Tiger Stadium, the old Briggs Stadium, double-deck stadium, the lights kind of hanging out over the upper deck. Unbelievable. Things that Andy misses. Howard Cosell, Don Meredith, and Frank Gifford, the best ever. The greatest three-man booth ever of all time. It's never been duplicated. They've tried to do a three-man booth is so hard to do in broadcasting. I mean, a two-man booth is hard enough. A three-man booth, you've got to have the chemistry has to be just unbelievable, and they had it from the get-go. A lot of people don't remember Frank Gifford, not the original play-by-play voice by any stretch of Monday Night Football. A lot of people don't remember who the original voice of Monday Night Football was. But yeah, Cosell, Don Meredith, and Frank Gifford. Now, what I would give you on that would be Monday Night Football that mattered. Sports events that transcended sports fans, that became sports events, entertainment events, and everybody in the country rallied around it. I mean, across the country in the early 70s and mid-70s, bowling night used to be on Monday. What do you mean, bowling night? I mean, bowling night. I mean, everybody went out to their bowling alley on Mondays, and husbands and wives and everybody, they went to bowling night. Monday Night Football starts, they moved bowling night to like Thursday or Tuesday or whatever it was. That would, I mean, and I don't know how you bring it back, but there was a commonality that no longer exists. There's no singular sporting event anymore, sans maybe the Super Bowl, that brings Americans together beyond sports aspect. Monday Night Football did that. It transformed sports viewing and viewing in America. James is back there on the United Supermarkets chat line. I was in United Supermarkets yesterday. Pro tip, guys, check the end cap meat specials down in the butcher shop area. You will be shocked at what you can find. James, I would take away the universal DH and have distinction between the AL and NL. We're talking about things you miss in sports. What would you bring back? We got this started yesterday, thinking about NTN trivia and stuff like that. I miss NTN trivia. I miss trivia with the trivia box. Me and my wife almost got a divorce last November playing trivia in Red River, Mexico, because you got to use your phone to do it now, and it was just I couldn't do it. So when we talk about getting rid of the universal DH, what we're talking about is let's bring back pitchers batting. Let's get rid of the DH completely. Now I know a lot of you, and I can't claim to have been old enough. The DH occurred in my lifetime, but I was not old enough to sit there and go, "Dadgummit, I'm liking Gaylord Perry hitting in this situation." But what you get to when you say the distinction between the AL and the NL, you get into the idea if the AL has DH, the NL nationally didn't. There wasn't a lot of crossover in the 70s until the 70s and the late 70s in free agency, guys playing the majority of their career in one league or the other. You had the NL strike zone and the AL strike zone. The NL strike zone is lower. The AL strike zone in the 70s into the 80s and even the 90s was a higher strike zone. There were differences. Things you miss in the world of sports. Favorite Major League Baseball All-Star games. All right, so I got to this. Mr. 500, David Collier, Kamek 28 Sports Director. He was on radio today. They're on the score. And I didn't see him on the television today. Mr. 500. Mr. 500? Help me out here. I get rolling on these things, guys. I can't just think, in real time. Also miss Jack Dale calling Tech basketball games. Outside, right side, up and in. Inside, outside, right side. The GOAT, the all-time voice of Texas Tech football and basketball. Nobody else is the voice of Texas Tech football or basketball. You're just doing play-by-play. You're not the voice. Jack Dale was the voice. I missed the boxing on ABC back in the 70s. Seemed like every week. Ali, Roberto Duran, we just covered 2 decades, really 3 decades right there. And what you're missing there, Joseph, you're missing ABC's Wide World of Sports is what you're missing. When we didn't have 24/7 sports channels, ESPN, even really cable outlets like CNN and Sports Night and everything else, you had once a week ABC's Wide World of Sports. We're going to take you from cliff diving in Mexico with Keith Jackson to ice motorcycle hockey in the Ukraine. All of it brought to you by Brill Cream. Mr. 500. Thank you. Yeah, and thank you guys for putting us over 500 on YouTube subscribers. Can't tell you how much that means. It's very cool. It's a big plateau to get to. Algorithms and everything else. Thank you so much. Keep adding to it. If you're watching again, subscribe. How about no interleague play? I've only been saying that since 1996. Interleague plague, didn't need it. Cheap gambit. A cheap gambit in 97 by Vincent to try to drive interest where you didn't need it. It was better. It was cooler when you didn't have interleague play. That the only way back then that the Rangers and the Astros would ever see each other was in the World Series. That would be cool. The only way that the Royals and the St. Louis Cardinals ever saw each other was in the World Series in 1985. Interleague plague cheapened the World Series. Well, what do you mean, man? Like in football, the Steelers and the Cowboys, totally different deal. Totally different deal. Hate interleague play. Still hate it today. Don't like it. I miss This Week in Baseball. Brought to you by Mel Allen. Greatest theme music of all time. I mean, in your mind, you can hear it right now, right? You can hear This Week in Baseball. The music would come on before the game of the week on NBC in the 70s, and we'd be getting ready to go play wiffle ball or 500 or whatever we're going to play that day. And if we had enough people, we could go we had a vacant lot down at the end of the street there in Canyon. And if we had enough people, we kind of play a little 4-on-5 type baseball game. But we would wait. We would watch This Week in Baseball. And then if we didn't care about the game, it'd always be like the Yankees or the Dodgers or the Phillies or the Reds or whatever. We just go out and play. How about that? David Collier came back 28 sports director. It would make this All-Star game maybe a little more interesting if they hadn't played each other all year. I agree. Yeah. And that was the thing that you guys who are younger than me by, say, I don't know, 5-10 years maybe. Yeah, maybe 10 years. 10 years might be a little low. Again, you got robbed of that rivalry of the idea of the AL and the NL, that you were an AL fan or an NL fan. You had your team you rooted for, but you were a league guy. I was an American League guy. Now, I like teams in the NL, don't get me wrong. Like the Reds, like Johnny Bench, Pete Rose, all that. Mike Schmidt, I was a big Mike Schmidt fan. Dodgers, I rooted for the Dodgers in the World Series in 77, 78 over the Yankees, because as a Rangers fan, you could not root for the Yankees. You had to root for somebody. But when it came time to choose up at the All-Star game, you were an American League guy because there's your guy. There's Jim Sundberg. There's whoever might have snuck onto the team. It was always, chosen by the coaches as a backup because Ranger was ever going to get voted onto the team in the 70s and 80s. But yeah. And the other thing that made the All-Star game interesting, and this is, again, well, actually, we're getting to this again now, but back in the 70s and 60s and 70s, way before my time, but 70s and 80s, you only got to see a handful of games a week. If you had cable, you got to see the Mets, the Braves, and the Cubs. But from an American League standpoint, you were hardly seeing any guy. You weren't seeing these guys play every day. And there wasn't, Sports Center. 80s there was, I guess. Yeah. But growing up, these were just kind of legendary figures that you hadn't seen. You didn't see them all the time. And to see them all on the field at one time was really cool. It mattered. Doesn't matter anymore. Handing out helmet stickers. Michael is going old school off YouTube channel. We haven't done helmet stickers in a while. Helmet sticker to the former Dallas Stars player for winning the Celebrity Golf Tournament ACC this weekend. It was off my radar. I didn't watch any of it, and good for him and whatever happened. I was paying attention to the Scottish Open to see if Ludwig Ober might have any sort of shot this week, and he does. He actually does. The advantage of playing the Rawls course for many years, Links course, you got a shot. Joe jumps in on Facebook, listing, YouTube, and sometime get those numbers up. Facebook, 3/4 of a second ahead of YouTube. Well, I talk faster on YouTube. I talk slower or faster on Facebook. I talk slower on YouTube because I figured the people on YouTube need me to talk slower, particularly if they're down in the great state of Alabama. Great Mel Allen and Twib. Yep. Mel Israel Allen, who got run out of town by the Yankees eventually. They get rid of all the good announcers. Can we bring back Major League batters hitting above 300? I don't know. That would require Major League Baseball batters to hit to all fields, hit according to the count, not try to pull everything, and not be a 4-outcome game. That would require rewarding Major League hitters for being hitters instead of bombers. Another reason frustrates me with Major League Baseball these days. Making all these rules to accommodate bad hitting philosophy. All right. Speaking of bad hitting philosophy. No, I'm just kidding. Major League Baseball draft today. You got 5 players. Hey, and if David Collier is still with me, you can correct me if anything's happened since we got ready to go on the air. Mac Hewer went in the 8th round to the Yankees. Trendon Parrish, 10th to the Devil Rays. Damian Bravo goes 15th round to the San Francisco Giants, and then the Yankees take another tech pitcher in Jack Siebert, who I think is going to have a really nice professional baseball career. I'm not saying he's going to be an all-star, but I really like his game transcending into the next level. And then finally, Zane Petty goes 18th to the team with the worst logo in all of professional sports, the Cleveland Guardians. What we see here is one of two things. 1, 2, 3, 4 pitchers drafted off a team that fired their pitching coach. So, do we read that to say they grossly underachieved? That Matt Gardner didn't get anything out of them? That he identified talent but didn't get anything out of them? Or that actually Matt Gardner's a pretty good pitching coach and you didn't have but one guy drafted who swings a bat in Damian Bravo, who was, by the way, a pitcher at one time. Where are the bats? Nobody came looking for your hitters. Nobody came looking for your offense. Nobody came looking for anybody that puts the ball in play consistently off this Texas Tech team. The truth is probably somewhere in the middle on all of this. But it's telling to me that a program that people say, pitching sucks. It's all about the pitching. They're horrible pitching wise, blah, 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 blah. There have been a whole hell of a lot more players with arms go into the Major League draft in professional baseball over the last 10 years than guys swinging the bat. Remember we said that. Robert, I'm a Yankee fan because the rest of my mother's family were Dodgers fans. Robert, there's probably some sort of caste that you can go to for that. Now, what I was just saying about Tech baseball and the number of pitchers drafted versus hitters, again, you can take that with a grain of salt, that all that is a projection based on the next level. It's not based necessarily on accomplishment at the collegiate level, what you did or otherwise. But I do think there's something there to that. I really do, that so many people so quick and hastily to denounce Matt Gardner and what he did and what he was doing. And it just felt like over the last couple of years, everybody was absolving every other aspect of the program. When situational hitting was poor, fielding at times was atrocious. Where are the bats? Where have the bats been? The bats is smart. They got radar. Anybody who can tell me where that reference comes from in the next 3 minutes before we get out of here, them bats is smart. They got radar. Without Googling, don't Google. I'll be mightily impressed. Collier, the only one who might get it. Jan jumps in. Great Red Raider. We have so many drafted. Then why the heck were we so bad? Actually, this is a really small number of players drafted off a good team. We've seen 10, 12, double digits players drafted in the past at Tech. This is actually be crappy from a draft standpoint. Seems to me with our top 4 pitchers going that it wasn't pitching. Lifelong Dodger fan, listed them on the radio before we get a TV daddy-daughter thing. All right. And my mom was a Brooklyn Dodgers fan even before they moved out west, because that was the only team that she could listen to on the radio out here in West Texas. And then when they went west, so Duke Snyder, Pee Wee Reese, you name it, those 50s, early 50s, mid 50s Dodgers teams, my mom's favorite. That's cool though. Listen to them on radio before you got a TV. Baseball always better on radio, 100%. Might be the only sport better on radio, just inherently more enjoyable on radio. I don't know about soccer. I have to ask Tom Stone about that. Them bats is smart. They got radar. Anybody? Come on, Collier. Hey, you already got home and you're not watching anymore. Cried my eyes out when they went to Cali. Still love the Dodgers. I've been to where Ebbets Field was located. Obviously, it was long gone by the time I got there. And you can see in the community, it's just a neighborhood, man. And you can just see why they love them so much there. I hate the Giants, but bring back Candlestick Park. Huh. MASH? No. Wasn't off MASH. Them bats is smart. They got it. Connie Alexander and Jack Dale going back to the Humble Oil Radio Network. Southwest Conference Football 1966, everybody. I don't know if it's raining where you are, but I'm looking southeast. Dark that way. Eesh. Just gentle rains. That's all we need, not a lot. Gentle rains, Lord. All right, you guys are the best. I appreciate you being out there. David Letterman show, about 86, 7. Don't know how the running joke got started, but it was David Letterman. Dim Mets is smart. They got radar. That's where that came from. Tomorrow, Tuesday's best. I'll give you a topic. Your two favorite things. Who knows what that will be? In the morning, you need to join us on the website. Raiderland Hot Links. Very cool stuff. TheRaiderland.com. I am going to archive this. I ask you to do one thing. If you're not on our YouTube channel, subscribe. Keep growing that number. If you're not with us on Facebook, subscribe. Keep growing that number. Twitter, same thing, at Ryan Hyatt Media. All the platforms don't cost a thing. Then I want you to go online if you can find them. We link to them pretty much. McAlpin Chiropractic, the official chiropractor of Lubbock, Texas, and Raiderland, and Golf USA here in Lubbock. Tell them thanks for being a part of what we do. None of this happens. Same thing with the great people at United Supermarkets and Market Street. Slowest time of the year. My butt. No, we're going to have a great time this week. It's going to be awesome. All right, you guys know what to do. Share this, invite people in, grow Raiderland. We'll see you in the morning. We'll be with you on Twitter tonight at Ryan Hyatt Media, and pay attention to different stuff. So share this and grow it and go from there. I got to hit this button. Hold on. I got to hit one more button. Now I strike a seductive pose.